Hello, everyone, and happy 2026. It's still January, so I guess we can still say that. My name is Gidon Sobel. I'm the president and founder of Purple Plum Consulting. We're a platinum partner with Monday.com. We like to say that for us, every day is Monday, and super excited to kick the year off with it's an unconventional webinar talking about our experiences at the Tom Ferry Elite Retreat in Chula Vista, California, just south of San Diego. With me, I have Mark Yaschik, who's an account executive with Monday.com, and he and I participated as sponsors in that event. And we have the one and only Mike Vinson from the Riley Smith Group in Miami, top producer in Miami, who is a great friend of ours, great friend of Purple Plum, and who also happened to be participating in that event. For those of you that don't know what this Tuesdays with Monday series is, for the last year, pretty much every month without fail, we've been talking once a month about different aspects of Monday.com for real estate and how various real estate businesses, be they residential real estate or commercial real estate, property management, or some adjacent real estate business, are using Monday.com to bring efficiency and operational excellence to their organization and be positioned for scale. And in all these different webinars, we feature different guests, different features of Monday.com that really help in this overall journey. As I mentioned, what we're going to do today is a little bit different, and we're going to reflect on this event because really we had exposure to, I think, almost 2,500 real estate coaches and their clients under the broader Tom Ferry umbrella. And for those of you that don't know who Tom Ferry is, he's the North America, if not the world's leading real estate coach, and has an amazing organization, amazing network. He's really at the cutting edge of technology and process and best practice for realtors. And his coaches do a fantastic job in turn with their clients, bringing the best of this thinking and enablement. And just being part of that event really gave us a lot of validation for where Monday.com is already playing a role and certainly can play a role in the future. And hopefully we can share a little bit of that experience with you all and share some specifics of what we heard, what we learned, and some suggestions that we have for you. So that's a little bit of why we're doing what we're doing. I'm going to just maybe lean to Mike and ask Mike to share kind of the client perspective, what it means to be a client with a coach from the Tom Ferry organization, and why he and his team and his leader, Riley Smith himself, was there.
We love going to these events. I think we've been in coaching for just over 4 years, and we carve out time in our schedule for every single event that they throw. I think every time we go to an event, we always come out with something different. But more importantly, like you kind of tapped on and mentioned, is like the ecosystem alone and the group of people that they curate in one single place at one single time is unique. And when you're in an environment that a lot of people have the similar ideas or they have similar ways of wanting to improve their business or looking to do, cool things, and you get a lot of cool perspectives, you grow and you start to see things and start to interact and you start to put it into your own business. The coolest part about going to these events, I think we go to like 4 or 5 of them a year, and every time it's different.
Right. Thanks very much, Mike. I didn't realize that you went to so many of these events. I just thought it was one event per year. So clearly you get a lot out of them, and both, on the networking and the technology process, I'm sure a lot of takeaways. Mark, if I could just turn to you. Obviously, we were there from a booth perspective. What did you think we would gain from this event going in?
Initially, Gidon, my expectations were just to kind of see what the world of a large coaching enterprise might look like at this moment, right? So we were really greeted to a wide array of both coaches and real estate agents, and a sincere and genuine hunger to improving their business processes, but also finding new ways that they can do the same thing but be more efficient and be stronger in their execution in it. And that's really what we experienced from start to finish.
Right. Right now, I think we'll probably touch on several of those themes. Mike, I don't know if I shared this with you, but when we presented to the coaches on the first day, there were probably 200 coaches that we had the opportunity to meet with and speak to, being a sponsor of the event. I was, along with Monday. Um, and just talking about what we bring to the table and why we're seeing a gravitation of realtors to using Monday.com to manage their real estate operations. And I asked the group of coaches, and these are really talented coaches that in turn have tens, 20, 30 clients of their own who are realtors, to raise their hand if they have an existing client that uses Monday.com. And I was expecting, one or two, five in the room to raise their hands. Literally half the room raised their hands. I'm like, whoa, I had no idea.
Yeah.
Does that surprise you?
I think so. We've been using Monday 3-ish years now, pretty heavily. Um, and if I think about that same time period of me going to these events and kind of having these conversations, the conversation has definitely grown, especially in the last year. Um, and people having more of these workflow management softwares, whether it's
Right.
and it kind of and then I have to tell people like, well, I do everything on Monday. Like I don't live without it. I have my transactions, my marketing, my operations, my sales. Like I have everything. And they go, and then they take a step back. I'm like, well, we only do like X, and I'm like, that's nice. Got to start somewhere, and that's great. But it is capable of so much more than what you can think of, and which is why, you know, I found it very valuable. And I think that the concept is changing because I had several conversations just at Elite alone with people using other softwares, and me sharing my experience with other softwares and just being, how limiting it was or how you're just kind of catered to what real estate software gives you, right? And they don't really allow you to tweak it, change it, customize it to your own,
Right.
your own business. And on the flip side, Monday allows you to, as long as you have the data, as long as you input the data and are consistently improving, you can almost get any sort of data set and make a decision or build upon it that you would like. And I think people are starting to kind of see that, and especially when you get to environments with like these caliber people where they're building real businesses. They're not just looking at the next sale or the next transaction or who the next client
Right.
is. They're really trying to grow an actual business beyond themselves. People are looking into that. They're willing to invest in those type of things, and that's exciting.
Right. Right. Mark, wait, did you want to add something there?
Yes, absolutely. So just to bridge and add more to what Mike is saying, the difference that I've seen, and I have a long history as a realtor, as a technology trainer. I've been in the real estate space for quite a while now. What I've really noticed is it's not, as Mike said, not just working on a single transaction or a single client and hoping for the next one to come through, but more of dashboards, reporting, dynamic reporting that says, what is my team doing? Who's performing? Who's going through the motions of making the calls or the follow-up emails or sending out an alert about a new listing and the impact that that brings? So it's a real conversation shift and a real maturity to a significant number of even smaller, what I often refer to as kind of mom and pop shops, looking for metrics that drive the decisions on how to invest in the business. That's a big shift and a big
Right.
maturity that has needed to
Right. Right.
occur.
I think real estate has evolved over time in general, and I think now it's becoming a little bit more of a career, right? People are getting into the business earlier. They're actually considering it more of a career than, oh, this is the second thing after my corporate job. I got tired of it. I'm just going to go do this for a
Yeah.
hobby. And it's funny that you say that because one of the big themes of the whole week was high quality growth revenue. And like the way I viewed that, and like you can only make those type of decisions when you have the proper data set or the proper
Hmm.
data
Yeah.
in place. And I think we're good. I don't even think we're great. Like in certain aspects of our business, obviously in our sales department, we have all the data that we could want, but I think we can be a little bit better in our marketing, or I think we can be better in, like you were mentioning, the activity for each agent to see where we can like maybe make a tweak here or improve this here or incorporate something else over here to kind of, and
Right.
so that is the core of Monday, right? Like gathering the data to be able to make high level decisions to help your business. period.
Right. Just switching gears, I'd love to dig into a little bit of what we all heard and experienced in the event itself, from Tom and several of the keynote speakers. And I was fortunate enough, we at Purple Plum, we had two booths. We had a booth outside, um, with all of our, paraphernalia, our purple squish balls and our squishy houses that we like to use, all real estate themed. But we also were lucky to have, and thank you to the Tom Ferry organization. They gave us an extra booth on the inside of the main auditorium, and we got to listen in to some of the key presentation, including the presentations from Tom. And one of the presentations that he made, he was comparing and contrasting realtors that are outperformers from underperformers, right? And what are the 4 or 5 criteria that differentiate the two? And it was a very compelling list, and some of them were like personality based. And are you hungry? Are you ambitious? Do you wake up in the morning and have a plan? But one of the, if I'm not mistaken, one of the features was you have a process, right? And you follow a process, and you're not just kind of reacting to the WhatsApp messages, the phone calls, the texts, but you're following a process and you're organized, and you have a system and a piece of technology behind that. And I think that really resonated, and that's what we're seeing is that increasingly the coaches are pushing their clients to have processes and CRMs and other work management platforms to really drive their business, whether it be their lead funnel or their transaction management. And I think that's really where I know we're seeing Monday gain a lot of traction. I think there's a lot of interest already starting to happen. Um,
You know, I think one of the biggest things, and I was kind of put on the spot during the week, um, you know, is knowing your numbers and knowing your data.
right,
And and I think to your point, the only way you get to know that is by having a process to actually incorporate, like to actually record the data. And recording the data actually forces you to have a process. And so, it's crucial. And I've noticed it, when I first started, I didn't necessarily know everything that I needed to know. And, now I look at now, I'm like, yeah, I can rattle a few numbers off the top of my head that I know that I look at pretty much almost every day. And that's because we have a process for incorporate
right,
the agents do this and
right. And
having
you
your,
and you know how I know that you're right? Because I was speaking to your boss.
yeah. And listen, and he showed you like he's got
And he said, since Monday's been a game changer, I know what my team's doing, and he wasn't joking about it, right?
being able to pull up a dashboard on your phone or just like at a computer at any given time, like but that's the result, right? You don't see the 10 or 20 other things that go on behind the scenes to actually get that look.
Yeah.
Right.
So there's 20, there's two people that really have to like follow a step of whatever X steps to get to the actual numbers that to give us
So,
what
so what is it fair to say, no, don't let me put words in your mouth, Mike, that many of the things that Mike is telling his coaches and his clients are the success criteria for a high performing and outperforming client. You guys are doing that, and having a process and having a platform like Monday is helping you do that, right?
absolutely.
Right,
Yeah, no, I mean that's you. Yes, the short answer is yes. I mean, it is very much thinking about if you're building a business, you need to know X, Y, and Z. You need to know these certain things. You need to keep track of these certain things because it helps you make decisions in the future when you need to improve it, do more of it, whatever the case may be. Um, and you have to have something that gathers
right.
that for you.
Gotcha. Perfect, perfect. Um, I want to turn the conversation a little bit to I hate to use this 2 letter acronym, but I'm going to, and that's AI, right? And kind of you cannot have a conversation about technology and any industry in 2026 without talking about AI. So I want to really just dig into that a little bit because again, the AI was a big theme from Tom and his slew of speakers there, and it was quite impressive to see what's possible on the AI side of running a real estate business and generating digital content and videos for YouTube. Obviously, Tom and coaches are highly promoting YouTube content and being able to use avatars and generated walkthroughs using AI. It was really impressive. Um, but I got a sense, that it could be very overwhelming to your average solo realtor from a remote location that's not, leading edge. So I'm curious, how did, to me, the gap is widening, right? From a technology perspective. Is that
Yeah.
is that a good observation? I mean, is that accurate?
It is it's a great observation. And that's how I feel a lot of the time sitting in that room, each time we go, it's like, oh, five more things that we could incorporate, right?
Right,
Or more AI tools that we should know about because that's going to make our marketing better or faster or more efficient. It is very much like that. I think one thing that they do a really good job about, especially with AI, but with new concepts and things like that, is if you look at the core of what they're teaching you, the actual end result is probably the same, channel or same thing that has been going on for 20, 30 years
Hmm.
in real estate. But it's how do you do it now that is different and more innovative and modern, right? And
Right,
that's what AI has done. So every time they bring an AI thing, it really is user friendly to see like this is how it could affect your business. You're currently you should be already doing this thing already, but you're probably doing it this way with a lot more manpower and a lot more like
right.
SOP
How could you
standards.
be more efficient? How can you scale? Right.
Yeah. And so
That's
then they
exactly
show
right.
you ways that you can actually use the AI to actually benefit your business,
Right.
especially in the marketing department. Um, but that's the cool thing about what they do at these conferences is that, they really do get you thinking and they really do get you like, okay, these tools can be faster for you. So like, let's try to do this a little bit better.
Right. Right.
You can't take away everything from these things also. That's the overwhelming thing because so many great things are being said to you, and you in the moment you're like, yes, 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 that's awesome. Taking pictures, okay, great. I'm gonna do all, and he did a really good thing this time, and like I wrote it down. It's like more joy, hyper focus, and just do three things, and that's kind of what it is. You can only do max three
Back to
things
basics. Back to basics. Right.
to accomplish it. If you
Right.
got three things done, you would be a happy camper.
Got it. I was just thinking here, the t two extremes, that I experience from different um, uh, clients of coaches, different realtors that came up to our booth and we were just chatting, and some knew about Monday, some didn't. So on one extreme, um, we had a gentleman from Alaska, and I was like very quick to say, Alaska, how high tech can Alaska be? Like how many homes do they sell in Alaska? What, obviously not a smart thing to be thinking. And then this gentleman, he proceeded to explain to me how he's built an end-to-end workflow using Claude and Chorus and this AI and this AI and this and Airtag and whatever, various other things. And looking at Monday and I was like, wow, you know, that is so creative. That's so impressive that here's someone who's not technical at all has been able to pull together this whole end-to-end AI-driven workflow. And so that's on one extreme. And then on the other extreme, maybe 10 minutes later, an hour later, another agent came up to me and she's starting her business. And I said, well, what's your CRM? And she brought up her phone. It was an Excel spreadsheet on her phone, right? So like we got this massive abyss. So I think what's going to make a difference and where we see traction, and I'm hoping, obviously, from a Purple Plum and Monday perspective, is that Monday is now going to be able to really service both types of customers, right? The entry-level customer that wants a pre-built CRM with templates and a pre-built transaction management system with templates that we offer, and in a couple of weeks can be up and running on one extreme, versus someone that's got more of a thirst and an interest in AI and MCPs for talking to other AIs and vibe coding and various other kind of context-aware AI product platforms, then Monday increasingly is going to serve them. And so I really, what we're excited about is to see how it really can be a different strokes for different folks in a sense, right?
Believe it, like, as you say that, I'm like, yeah, realtors. It's one of the industries where like there's a wide range of what I think we talked about this offline
Yeah.
briefly. Like there's a wide range of, and I don't even want to say skill sets or but like everyone does it differently, you know?
Right.
Their processes are different. You're still going to see the spreadsheets versus you're still going to, and then you're going to see the super technical, AI
Right.
with all these other automations in the back end
Right.
and everything in between. And,
That's right.
nobody trained you how to be a realtor. And when you are a realtor, you have to be a psychologist, you have to be a marketer, you have to be a communicator, you have to be all these things that you don't learn. Like nobody teaches you, you don't go to school for this. And so when somebody jumps into this and they start to realize, oh, I have to be a technologist and I have to learn how to
Right.
do all these other things at the same time,
Right.
you start to see the wide range of
Right.
just
And therefore, kind of software like Monday that can accommodate everyone on that spectrum and then their special needs, right? So to speak, in terms of their setup and unique processes and that's where I think we're seeing, I think you're seeing also that fit for Monday. Mark, if I can turn to you, I know you kind of represented us at the booth for several hours, and of course we appreciate that, and you're probably still recovering from that. Maybe can you share, just some takeaways, some, just interactions that you had with folks exploring Monday, and kind of what your takeaways were?
Yeah, honestly, sticking with that theme and thread of AI, it really resonated throughout the conversations that I had, and I would echo what you said: a wide range of skill sets and mindsets to the different people that we spoke to, but a very sincere yearning to do their business better, and so they're more welcoming and open to AI tools that, in this case, they would be built into Monday that allow them to have better insights into the customers that they should be contacting at the right time. But it just occurred to me, and this is just one of those items that it was brought up to me repeatedly. People would say, I have a large prospect list. I want to be able to find ways to communicate to those prospects when I have a new listing or a new listing comes on the market that matches their zip code they're interested in, the community, the square footage, the price point, whatever it was, and they're stuck, right? How do we go about doing that? And so using the functionality built into Monday makes it so easy for them to identify that group, send out a mass email, or set them
Right.
up on a nurturing messaging drip campaign that makes it real and personal for them, real and personal to the prospect that they're reaching out to, but also using technology to make life not only more impactful, but smarter, right? And I guess that's really a simple way to say it. Everybody wants to
Right.
be smarter, and they realize that you can't do that with you have a spreadsheet on your phone, right? It just ends at a certain point.
That's right. That's right. Were there any, can you think of any examples of, as you were describing more of what Monday can do, features, new products perhaps that Monday has that people, if they had heard about Monday, weren't aware of, and that like kind of resonated like, wow, I didn't realize Monday could do that. Did any of those types of conversations occur?
Yeah, fundamentally, and it's little things that really stand out, right? When we were at the event, we had a QR code that individuals could scan to submit their information to us, right? And it was a really simple form, first name, last name, email address, nothing to it. Taking that concept and applying that to how it can be used in an open house, right? You have people coming in and out of a home, you don't capture everybody's name, all of that frustration is converted over into, hey, you just print out your own QR code. You can have a unique one for every home that you're selling or every home that that you're doing an open house for that week or whatever it might be. Capture those leads, capture all the metrics on how they came to you, or the whole bit right there,
Right.
and
Right.
build your business from there. But primarily, it's just simple sales techniques. How do we lower the friction or reduce the friction as much as possible
Right.
so that a prospect does what we want? And that was
Right.
again, I like the simple solutions that show how sophisticated their entire workflows could be without being overly bearing and difficult to use.
Right, right, right. No, that's great. That's great. Mike, were you involved in any conversations with any of your peers talking about Monday? I know we had you in a big sign, we kind of revealed you to the world, right, with the pull-ups banner, talking about how RSG has embraced Monday. But is that something that you discussed with any of your peers?
I had a few conversations about it. I always have conversations because people are always asking like, what do you use? What do you do? Like, what do you use for this? What do you use for that?
Right.
So I always have a few conversations about it. It's funny after the event, I had a few because there's a couple group chats that I'm in, and um, I had a little bit more conversation about like, oh, I'm trying to do. I'm like, yeah, Monday, like, quite simple. Some people are willing to invest in it, and some people are, and that's
Right.
each their own. But I think you do see a lot more people that are willing to do that because in this type of room, like they're open to that conversation. But yeah, several throughout. I always have them because of just the nature of people trying to improve their business, wanting to
Right.
see what we're doing. And yeah, that's so constantly actually.
Right. I mean, I think at this point we might even need to assign you like a manager to manage all your, you're
I
so
know.
popular now, you know,
I
the
even
Monday.
It's funny. I haven't even told you this. Like in that group chat message that I was at, I said, Monday, and somebody else actually, um, a good friend of mine in the group chat actually sent your link to them as well. And I
uh,
was like, yep, I've used them and we use them on. They're awesome. They're great. Whatever. So
and for our listeners, that's Purple Plum Consulting, just so
yes,
we're
Purple
clear.
Plum. Yeah, they sent Purple Plum's link, and I was like, okay, like yes,
Right.
like
That's right.
them, and we do a lot of work together, and so again, it's just the conversation's evolving as we speak. And I think the more people are open to hearing about it, the more people that are open to just diving into it and just seeing what's possible.
Right.
I think a lot of
Right.
people are going to be pleasantly surprised.
Right. No, no, we see it, and we appreciate you for being such an early adopter. Maybe to wrap things up for today, guys, let's talk about 2026 and kind of what we can expect this year. Again, I happen to be fortunate to be in the room when Tom was talking about 2026, and one of the questions was, what does he expect in the market with interest rates falling and other macroeconomic factors? And he basically said, all right, guys, this is our year. It's been several years of waiting, but this is the year where things are going to turn and it's going to be big for realtors, and you got to be ready. And we're going to help you get ready as your coaches, but obviously you got to meet us halfway. And so he basically said, which I thought was an interesting way of putting it. He said, if you are organized and one of those outperformers, you're going to see the benefits of that uptick in the first half of the year. But even if you're an underperformer or just average, you're still going to see benefits of the second half of the year when everything else catches up. I really felt that was really insightful. And I guess the message was to everyone, be prepared, have your processes, have your technology. And I think that's why people are kind of a little bit pushing now to evaluate what they have and explore platforms like Monday. So, I mean, I think that's what I took as a big takeaway.
Yeah, and I think because it's the events in January at the beginning of the year, people are very much in that mindset of like new year, new me, and what do I need to incorporate and what do I need to change and adapt and be
Right,
and it's a positive message and it's a great message because it has been a brutal 2.5 years of real estate
right,
and and it kind of reminds me of COVID when the market shifted, the people that really succeeded during that time were the people that really were prepping for the year prior to that, and things just started to fall into place at the same time.
right, right,
So
right,
that's the same thing with now. If you did the work the last 6, 12, 18 months, it may have not looked pretty during those 6, 8, 9, 18 months, whatever period, but
right.
it could come to fruition in tenfolds
Good.
now when we do
Right.
see some sort of shift. And it's just about being ready for it. And you don't want to be playing catch up in the moment, trying to get ready during that time. It's the
Right.
worst time to do any of
Right.
that.
And obviously, a platform like Monday is how you get ready. I mean, that's the point,
Yeah.
whether it be your transaction management, your CRM, your marketing team, your just back office operations. Um, Excellent. Yeah, I definitely. I think the timing is right, and especially with all this AI piece of that. I'll leave you with one thing that I heard towards the end, which was like kind of it made me feel proud to be, as the owner of a team focused on Monday for real estate. And then I'd love to hear your guys' parting thoughts that we can share with participants and then folks that subsequently listen to this. There was a keynote session towards the end that had two women who were very successful in their respective geographies and talking about what made them successful in terms of their process, their culture, their team, their technology. And the second of the two was talking about technology. And I was kind of listening out of the corner of my ear, and if that's an expression, and she said, and we did this whole process and we made everything work end to end, and it was X to Y, and then we had Monday did this, and then we moved on. I was like, did I hear Monday? Whoa, you made it on the big stage at a major real estate event. So like again, it's been a steady progression, over the last few years. As you mentioned, you've been 3 to 4 years with Monday, but now Monday, to see Monday mentioned on stage at a Tom Ferry event with 2,500 agents as a viable platform, that's like wow. That's very, reinforces to us that we focusing on the right thing and we can help folks like you, right?
And I think the fact that, historically it's always been about real estate specific products, like products that is only catered to real estate.
Yeah,
And
good call out.
that is changing really, really fast. And I think
Right,
that's because I don't think people were not using Monday. I don't think it as the at the level they are now, but there were people using it. They just were using it
right,
for the small things, the things that, you just keep track of whatever it could be, whether it's marketing or just a project management. As simple as that.
right,
And now people are being more open to it because they have adapted it into way more things in their business rather than
right.
going the more traditional route. And that's the cool part. That's the evolution that I've seen that has been quite drastic.
Right. Amazing, amazing. Mark, any parting thoughts for our audience today?
Yeah, yeah. I just reflecting on this whole conversation. I think we're at this really interesting moment where a playbook means something to real estate teams, large and small. The ability to take an idea, execute on it, rinse and repeat, and make it your go-to operation is so important. And as Mike mentioned, right, having a platform like Monday allows for what is my favorite word or phrase when I hear somebody say it back to me. It's a single source of truth, a place where we know if it's not in X, in this case, if it's not in Monday, it's not real. And so that 2 a.m. moment where somebody wakes up and goes, is the listing agreement signed? Did the check get dispersed? Whatever it might be. And they can go whip out that Monday.com app and go, oh yeah, everything's fine. Go right back to sleep. That's the type of order that we can bring to chaos. And real estate has traditionally been a pretty chaotic world. So really excited to see the growth. What do you
And
say,
most
Right.
Mike?
realtors, no, most realtors are chaotic, and they're
Yes.
and
Right.
Yeah.
That's
because
Shiny objects.
nobody teaches that. And having people that can set it up like you guys to like make it because Monday can seem daunting for most people that are
right.
not technical, but having that like support at the up front and showing people, okay, it's really not that hard, right? Like
That's
it's
right.
really not
Well,
that
we
complicated.
appreciate the shameless plug there, Mike.
But
Obviously,
listen, I love Monday. I can work Monday like by myself, but I still need you guys, and that
no, we
doesn't.
we appreciate that. And for those of you that are considering Monday, we obviously there's the license subscription piece, and we can certainly help with that. But we also have many real estate templates to help jumpstart your journey with Monday and cut down the implementation time frame. And of course, our consultants, many of whom have a real estate background, can help support you in setting up a workflow that really fits your unique needs, as Mike was saying. So definitely, please reach out to us. We are purpleplumtech.com. Reach out on our website, or of course, we have a YouTube channel, or you can just email us directly. But we'd love to hear from you. And we really are excited to see where Monday is going within the real estate community. Please check back every month because we will have an exciting webinar talk about Monday and real estate. And we appreciate you joining the webinar and taking the time to kind of just shoot the breeze with us as we debrief on the Tom Ferry Elite Retreat 2026. Thank you, and until next
Thanks,
time, have
everybody.
a wonderful day.